Okay, so as we know, everything that goes into the ecosystem, you have to, if it goes live, you go into the marketplace, and then you have to click on various bits. Now, we know that as things move forward, we're going to have an option to be able to pay into the wallet, to be able to activate our accounts with whatever's left over that we might need to do. And Ash has already mentioned about these prepaid card options where you can load these things up and have commission paid onto them. Now, bear in mind, anything that you take out of the business is taxable depending on where you live and the tax laws that you have to abide by. So just because you load it onto a prepaid card doesn't mean to say you don't have to pay tax. So people be aware of this. It's very important that you understand that. Prepaid cards are great, but you still need a bank account. So again, bear that in mind. Now, we're not ready yet because the product hasn't gone live. It's not available. It's just, as Collins has quite rightly pointed out, it's being put to say, here, we're going to have these things available to you at a certain point. But, and I'll make this clear, everybody that has an account with OnPassive and part of the ecosystem needs to have some form of bank account to be able to have the payments being made across or transferred across to that account. Now, moving forward, it's possible, and I stress the word possible, that OnPassive may have at some point its own bank. If you don't live where the bank is set up, you're still going to have to transfer it into your account wherever you live. So therefore, you still have a tax liability based on where the money comes into. Prepaid cards are fantastic, but don't rely on them fully. You still need to have money going into the account. If you lose that credit card for any reason, you don't necessarily lose the money on it because you apply for another card, but it could take 2 to 3 weeks before you get that card or the new card, and the first one's been cancelled. And if you're reliant upon that money, you need something else. So please, still have a bank account, guys. It's very important.
Okay, you've been stressing the importance of having a bank account, and you say you need to have a bank account in order to get the money over. So is it like this prepaid MasterCard? Can it not really function in isolation? Does it have to be linked to a bank account to be for payment to be
I,
able to go over?
listen, you can have it in isolation, but why? The card works in isolation, so you're putting money onto a credit card. It has nothing to do with your bank account. It's not linked to your bank account. It is a separate prepaid card. You load the card up, and then you're able to use that MasterCard, Visa in different locations. But as I said, it's still exceedingly important to have a bank account, and anything you load onto that prepaid card still counts as income, and therefore still has a potential tax liability based upon where you live. Now, if you live in Dubai and you're a one-man band, then you don't necessarily have to worry too much about tax. If you're a company, I believe there's now a 9% tax based upon a certain level of income. But if you're in the UK, it's different. If you're in the States, it's different. If you're in Africa, it's different. In South Africa, it's different, etc. Okay, so the best thing to do is to take advice from an accountant, somebody who knows what the tax laws are based upon where you live. It's very important that you do that, guys.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I really appreciate that you came back. Andy, I know we've been discussing this over and over, and sometimes we do this because when you know where you come from, our people really struggle right now because there's a problem in my country, the ID thing. So when many of them saw this and heard Ash say this, they felt like it was a kind of a sigh of relief. So, finally, I can do without a bank account. But then I'm understanding from you right now that it's not the case. People are still strongly advised to get bank account So if you have at all any other thing to say
Right.
around that,
Well, like I said, let me give you an example. I get a prepaid card and I lose my wallet. Now I've got, you know, $2,000 on that card. That's my money. Right. I lose that card for whatever reason. I leave it in a taxi. My wallet falls out. Whatever it might be, I can't get access to that $2,000. Yeah. Now, if I've got a bank account, I've then still got the capability to be able to draw money from that bank account because I've got other cards. Or yeah. Now, what you have to do is you have to cancel the first card that you've got, that prepaid card, and they have to work out what's left on that card. It then may take, because it's not coming from your bank, it's coming from a centralized system, which may be based in Dubai. Don't know. Okay, stress that, don't know. If it is, it might take 2 to 3 weeks to get to you via post, because that post has to be secured. So if you're 2 or 3 weeks without money, how's that going to affect you? You need to be very careful here, and you need to have both. Yeah, a separate bank account so that you've still got cash coming in case. But again, let me emphasize this. If you get a prepaid card, it still goes against whatever you put on that card becomes an income. Yeah, and you're still liable for tax depending upon where you are. So be very careful here. It's great to have prepaid cards, don't get me wrong, but you need to have the additional in the form of a bank account in case.